Hey guys, what's up? This is Jason TheRedHeadHenry, and today we are going to be looking at movement of sprites inside of After Effects. So this is really going to cover what we did last time, plus a little bit more, only now we're using actual sprites. I do want to say that I only have 15 minutes to do these tutorials, so I'm going to be moving fairly quickly, so you guys can always pause and rewatch, and obviously if you have any questions, feel free to message me or leave a comment below. So this is what we're going to be creating today. Now, I'm actually recording at like 15 frames a second or like 25 frames a second, and this composition is set up at 30 frames, so it might not look as smooth on here. In the description of this video below, you'll have all the sprites and audio, and you'll actually have this finished file also, so you can take a look at that and see how I did things. So go ahead and download that, and well, we'll just go ahead and get started. So we go up to Composition, New Composition. I'm going to call this Main Comp. Make sure it's 640 by 360. It's locked at 16 by 9, square pixels, 30 frames a second, and it is a 3-second long animation with a black background. I'm going to say OK. Next, I'm going to set up my audio composition. So again, Composition, New Composition, and I'm going to call this Audio. And again, same thing. 640 by 360, 16 by 9, square pixels, 30 frames, and it's 3 seconds long with a black background, and say OK. So now we have two compositions. We have our main comp and our audio. So here's our main comp and audio for our timeline right here. So next thing we're going to want to do is import in all of our files. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit CTRL I and import in all of the files. So you guys will have all these files once you download that zipped file. Just go ahead and hit open, and now they're all in there. So we're going to get our project bin a little bit organized here. I'm going to create a new folder by clicking on this icon right here. I'm going to call this one Audio. Make another folder, call it Comp. Make another folder for BG, call it BG for background, and make one more, and you can go ahead and call this one Sprites. So I'm going to take all of my audio files, and you know they'll be audio because they're like this light green, or you can just take a look at the icon. And we're going to drag those into the audio folder. We're going to drag this field bg.bmp, drag that into the background. Drag this LSWI Son Goku into the sprites folder. And then lastly, take our two comps. I'm just holding down Control, and that selects both of them, and drag those into the comp folder. So now we're actually going to color code these things really quickly in the project bin here. So drop down the audio. The audio colors are actually, those are fine. So that's good. The background color, actually we're going to make this color a brown color. You guys can make it whatever you want, but I like to affiliate backgrounds. You know, it's like a great big field, plains, its dirt is brown, so whatever, it's going to be brown. For comps, we're going to make the audio composition gray. So if you want a gray color, just go with none. Close that. And we're actually going to be using Goku for this this video. So I reference Goku with being the color orange, just because that's, you know, kind of like his colors. So I'm just going to make him orange. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do, make sure you're in your main comp timeline here. We're actually the first thing we're going to do is drag in our audio composition. So drag your audio composition into your main composition. So we're going to have all of our audio files in one composition, and then that'll just be one layer inside of our actual main comp. So instead of having those three audio files as separate layers, it'll just all be one layer. So now we're going to actually import in this background. Scale it up. It's looking good. So now we're going to bring in our Goku Sprite. So I'm just going to pause for a second here. I got this sprite from spritingonawhim.tk. This is actually just two poses, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Angry Boy for allowing me to use his sprites in this tutorial. You should definitely check out his site. It's spritingonawhim.tk. I got the link in the description of this video, so you can get the full sheet of Goku there, and he's got a bunch of different other LSW sprites there. So he's actually reworking a bunch of the LSW sprites into this revamped version called LSWI. So definitely check those out. They're really awesome. So we're going to go ahead and scale this up. So we're just going to hit S on our keyboard and scale up this sprite sheet. Actually, we're going to type this in and make it 350. Okay, so that's looking good. So now we're going to key out this background. Just going to go up to Effect, Keying, Color Key. Make sure this layer is selected when you do that, you guys. So you're just going to click on this eyedropper tool, and that's going to click on that blue. That's going to key out that background. Now you'll notice too that Goku he isn't really pixelated. He's actually really blurry. So we're going to make him looking all nice and crisp by simply clicking on this little button right here. It's got this solid line through it, and now it's become like this little dotted line. So now he's looking all nice. So now the next thing we're going to want to do is just draw a mask around him. So the first thing, the first sprite we're actually using is of him flying. So we're just going to go up here, if you remember from last time, to this rectangle tool. Just make a rectangle right around him. Make sure your layer is selected when you're doing that. Okay, so that's looking good. And now actually we're going to position, I don't know if you can see it, the anchor point is over here. We're going to move the anchor point by clicking on this icon right here, the pan behind tool. We're just going to click it and move it right in front of him. So what we're going to want to do is, we're not going to have him start at 0 seconds. We're going to have him start at 15 frames in. So we are, with this layer selected, just simply hit Shift-Control-D on your keyboard, and that cuts it up. So we're going to delete this right here. So now it's like you have 15 frames of nothing, and then all of a sudden he's there. So we are going to position him off screen, and with this layer selected, this Goku layer, we're going to hit P on our keyboard, hit that little stopwatch, and we're going to page down on your keyboard will actually move this red bar. So page down and page up, that's how you move that frame for frame. So we're just going to page down 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and then hit a new keyframe. And then we're just going to drag him over to about the middle of the screen right there. I'm going to page forward, or page down, sorry, one more time. Just move forward one more frame. And then just hit, whoops, excuse me. Then just hit Shift-Control-D again. So that splits that up. And now with this new Goku layer, hit U on your keyboard, and then just uncheck this position keyframes. We don't want those position keyframes there anymore. So now actually with this new layer, we are going to move this mask layer over so we can get his standing pose in there. So we're just going to go ahead and hit M on our keyboard with this layer selected, and then where it says mask 1, just click that once. Then up here on your stage, you can move these points actually. You can also use the pen tool if you want to mask things out, but I'm just using the shapes. Okay, so now he's looking nice, and we're going to actually move the anchor point to right underneath his feet. And we're going to page up and drag this layer back 1 so they're both kind of on the same point in time. I'm going to position him right in the middle. And then we're going to just page forward and move this layer up. So this is how it should be looking, guys. In your timeline, he flies in, and then all of a sudden he stops. So personally, I think it would look a little bit better though if he had a little bounce to him. So we are going to give him a little bit of a bounce, like he's coming up from out of this flying sort of pose. So we're going to hit S on our keyboard on this new Goku layer. That brings up the scaling options, and we are going to unlink the X and Y properties, or yeah, I guess properties you would call it. And we're just going to bring this second 350, and we're just going to scale that down to about 300, somewhere around there. And then just set a keyframe. And we're going to page up 3 times, or page down, sorry, 3 times, so 1, 2, 3. Set a new keyframe, and then just type in here 350, and then just hit enter. So now he flies in, and then he's coming up from it. Okay. So now we're actually going to focus on the audio. So we're going to go over into the audio composition. And we are going to drag in from our project bin these 3 audio files. So I'm just holding down Shift to select them all, dragging them all in here. So in our main composition, we need that effect where he's flying in. It's like that swooshing kind of sound. So right here is where it starts at 15 frames because that's where he starts flying in. So in our audio composition, we're going to take that whoosh file, just drag it right over to where that red bar is. So if you have it on 15 frames in your main comp, as long as this audio is inside of that composition, then you will be on 15 frames in this composition. So then we're going to kind of scrub forward here to about 20 frames. And this is where he's going to say his little ha. So we're going to make sure that this Goku ha file is just on line with that. And then we are going to go to around the 1 second and 10 frames point. Actually, we'll come back to about, well, we'll see how this looks. So I'll take you guys through a little bit of a kind of a lesson here. We're going to preview this, see how it looks. Actually, we'll go into the audio, move this teleport out of the way, and let's RAM preview this thing. Okay, that might be a little quick, that ha that he's doing, so I'm just going to bump that back just a little bit. Okay, that looks good. So now at 1 second and 5 frames, that is where we are going to position this teleport. Okay, so the audio is done now. So now, at this 1 second and 5 frames, we're just going to hit Shift-Control D with that Goku layer selected. So that splits that up, and go ahead and hit U on your keyboard and uncheck these scaling properties. Hit that little stopwatch. So now we've got kind of like a fresh layer here. And we are going to now mess with the position and the transparency for this layer. So we're going to go ahead and hit T for the opacity. And we're going to set a keyframe. Okay, I'm going to page down once, and we're going to pull this down to about 24. Page up, bring it back up to around 85. Page down again, bring it down to around 38. Page back up one more time, bring that up to around 70. Page down again, and then hit Shift-Control D. And then we're going to just hit backspace, and that deletes that layer. So now let's preview this thing out. Okay, we're almost done here, guys. So now we're going to kind of give him this, if he's teleporting, we're going to have him kind of teleport up. So we're just, with this layer selected, hit P. I'm just going to set a keyframe, and then scrub forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, 4 frames. And then we're just going to bring him up a little bit. Just a little bit. Not too much. Okay, so now we've got this looking pretty nice, but the last thing we're going to do is add some motion blur to him flying in. So there's actually a couple different ways you can go about doing this, but I'm just going to show you one way for right now. We are just going to, like we did last time, check this little motion blur box and then turn on the overall motion blur for the whole composition. But it looks a little blocky because remember from before we made him so that he was real pixelated. So we're just going to uncheck this dashed line and make it a solid line. So now it looks a lot smoother. So now when you play this, it looks pretty nice. Okay guys, so that's all the time I have for today. Check back for my next tutorial. I actually haven't written out any of my ideas yet for it, but we're going to be doing maybe a little bit more movement, and maybe we'll throw in actually 2 characters and might have them throw in a punch or something like that. So stick around for that, and I will see you guys next time.